Hi everyone. So today I'm going to go ahead and introduce something called the Modern Classroom Project. So we're going to learn what that is and how it's going to impact your science class this year. So let's go ahead and dig in. Okay, so my motivation for this whole idea of using this Modern Classroom Project in my classroom comes from the fact that I'm always trying to improve as a teacher. And educational research shows that the traditional way of teaching, where the teacher's up front lecturing, students are in their desks taking notes, actually isn't that effective at helping students to learn. So that got me to wondering, how can I actually improve this process? Because I had seen the same thing in my own classroom. While some students are begging me to slow down, others want me to go faster because they're bored and they already understand the topic. So as I did some investigation of my own, I came across something called the Modern Classroom Project. So the Modern Classroom approach to teaching has three different parts in it. And the first part is going to be mastery based progression, meaning we're going to take the time to really understand a topic before we move on to the next thing. So, this makes sure that you have a strong foundation and you know the basics before we start to do more complicated things. Now, because we all move through things at different paces, some of us will be faster, some of us might need a little extra time on one particular topic. We have self paced learning in the modern classroom approach. Now, there are guidelines to help keep you on task, make sure that you don't get too far behind and things like that. But you have flexibility. So maybe one lesson takes you a little bit longer, but the next one you move through really fast. That's okay with the modern classroom project. And the final thing that makes all of this work is blended learning. So, as much as I would love to work with all of my students one on one every single day with giving them a lecture and everything, that just isn't possible. I need to clone myself. So, the best way to do that using technology today is to actually make video lectures, just like the one you're watching right now. That way, the video is available whenever you get to that topic. You can pause it, rewind it, whatever you need to do, but it's there when you're ready for it. And then during class, I can actually go and help you when you have specific questions and give you that one on one attention. So, in one way, I'm kind of making multiple copies of myself. Okay, so let's go ahead and dig a little bit deeper into each of these three topics. For mastery based progression, remember that is the idea you're going to really learn and understand a topic before you move on to the next thing. And the way that we check to see if you actually understand that idea is using something called a knowledge check. So, knowledge checks are not meant to be big and scary. They're usually a half sheet of paper with a few questions on them, and they're just a quick check. Do you understand it? If so, you move on. And if not, you spend a little more time on that lesson. So, if you do well, we call that a pass. You get full credit and you go on to the next lesson. But if you find that you need a little extra practice on something, we call that revise. So you're going to go ahead, review your notes, maybe rewatch a video, do some extra practice problems, and then you go ahead and retake your knowledge check. And there's no penalty for retaking things. We want to go ahead and grow and learn in this case. Now, you might be worried a little bit about grades. So, how I have it set up, you have 3 attempts to take and pass each knowledge check. So, the first attempt and then 2 retakes. Now, when you prove that you have full knowledge, you pass that mastery check, whether it's on the first time, the second time, or the third time, I give you 100% or 5 out of 5 practice points. Now, if you've taken your knowledge check, but you didn't do so great and you need to revise it, I mark it as 50%, 2.5 out of 5 points. And it stays that way until you do prove mastery or you run out of attempts. But that's just a temporary grade. Hopefully, you're going to get that mastery with no problem. And then that way you will get that full grade. It's just kind of a check that you're getting there, you're just not quite there yet. The next thing is self paced learning. So everyone can move at their own pace within one unit. So there are some kind of stop signs that we do together. So labs, quizzes, and tests are all going to take place on the same day. And some activities do have set due dates. So there's not flexibility on everything. Important dates are going to be listed on the top of your unit guide, so make sure you always check that out. If you use a planner or a calendar, you can go ahead and add those to your papers so that you can go ahead and stay organized. And on that unit guide, I also have suggested on-pace dates. Now, this is my projection or my guess as to how long it will take you to complete each lesson. Now, it might take a little bit of extra time, and that's okay as long as you go ahead and make up that time at some point and get back on track. But maybe you're really fast, so you move ahead. That's also okay. How I do with the self-paced learning with Progress Book is once a on-pace date has passed. So now when you're behind, that is when I mark the assignment as missing in Progress Book. You can still go ahead and submit it. There is no penalty until that cutoff date. But it's just kind of that reminder that, hey, you really need to do this. It's impacting your grade. It's important to stay on top of things. Okay, so that final piece that makes a modern classroom method of teaching work is blended instruction. So in this part, you're going to watch short videos, and I try to keep them around 5 or 6 minutes. Sometimes they're a little bit longer, but I do try and keep them nice and short. And then once you're done with that, you're going to go ahead and do those traditional science classroom activities that you know. You're going to get up, do some hands-on activities. You're going to talk with your classmates, do some labs. So you're not going to be spending all day on your computers. Now, the videos I'm going to make are going to be posted both on the online hub and also on Edpuzzle, so you can access them through either location. And I just want to point out that I do embed questions in Edpuzzle, but these questions are not graded for accuracy. So it's okay if you get them wrong. It's not going to negatively impact your grade as long as you take the chance to go ahead, think about that answer, and make sure you really kind of take it to heart. However, I do review the data. So if there's one lesson where you don't pass your knowledge check and I look at your video scores and they're really low, I might encourage you to take the time to rewatch that video, get those scores up before you go ahead and take your knowledge check. So I do use that data. It's just not something I'm going to be putting in a progress book. Also remember that I have guided notes that go along with pretty much every single one of my videos. So make sure you're filling those out as you're watching the videos. Otherwise, you might have to watch it twice, which isn't always a bad thing. So I hope this video helps kind of explain how your science class is going to be set up this year. Part of it's just going to be kind of jumping in and getting started with it, and it's going to make more sense as we go along. But if you have any questions about these 3 different parts of the modern classroom project structure, please let me know. I'm happy to help you out with that. Otherwise, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day. Bye.